make his maiden speech. As is the practice of Parliament, Honorable Sammy Kamau will be heard uninterrupted. No points of orders, no points of information, uninterrupted. Go ahead, Honorable Member for Olkalau.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is with great humility and honor that I rise to make my maiden speech as the Member of Parliament representing the great people of Olkalau constituency. From the outset, Madam Speaker, let me state that I stand here as a clear statement that bad leadership can be defeated. I also stand before this House as a reminder that sovereign power belongs to the people. When institutions are compromised, the people will always rise to defend their democratic rights, even at the greatest personal cost. First and foremost, I give all glory and honor to Almighty God for this victory. There were many moments when all I had was prayers, strengthened through fasting. Today I stand as a living testimony that God not only hears our prayers, but answers them in his own perfect time. He alone can transform a man once referred to as a chokora into a member of Parliament. To my dear wife, Mama Sia, and our family, thank you for your unwavering love, prayers, patience, and sacrifice. Your support has been my greatest source of strength, and I remain forever grateful. To my party leader, the second Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, the sixth President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Gachagua, thank you for believing in me and mentoring me in leadership. Even after I lost the 2022 parliamentary election, you entrusted me the privilege of serving in the office of the Deputy President before you were ceremoniously removed from office. Under your leadership, the Democracy for the Citizen Party, DCP, has demonstrated that a political party can conduct free, fair, credible, and verifiable nominations while upholding democratic ideals during a by-election. Your guidance and confidence in me played an immense role in this victory. To my brother and our party's indefatigable foot soldier, Senator John Ngotho, words cannot adequately express my gratitude for your sacrifice, commitment, and tireless effort. You have exemplified bravery, leadership, and I have no doubt that you deserve your position as our party Secretary General. Your star continue to rise. I also wish to sincerely thank the 18 other honorable members of this House and the Senate who sacrificed their time and resources to campaign alongside me in Olkalau. Your solidarity and commitment will never be forgotten. Asanteni sana, wako hapa. To the great people of Olkalau constituency, I offer my deepest gratitude. You have placed Olkalau on the national map and written your names in the annals of Kenya's democratic history. Despite unprecedented attempts to influence your decision through bribery in the form of rice, beans, mattresses, shoes, money, transformers, rusty trains, boats, you remained steadfast. You voted with courage, protected the sanctity of your vote, and proved that the will of the people can never be bought. You are the true heroes of our democracy. Allow me at this juncture to welcome everyone in the country and beyond to come and benchmark with Olkalau on how to eat but still vote wisely. Allow me also to pay tribute to my predecessors, beginning with Engineer Morioki Karoe, whose efforts through the establishment of the Constituency Development Fund, CDF, has transformed countless lives. I also honor the late Honorable David Kiaraho, who ensured that many needy students accessed education through bursary. May his soul continue resting in peace. I pledge to build upon the legacy by expanding access to education through fair, transparent, and undiscriminatory bursary allocation. I will work to improve school infrastructure, increase household electricity connectivity, enhance our road networks, expand access to quality healthcare, and ensure that every promise made to the people of Olkalau is pursued with diligence and integrity. Madam Speaker, I joined the 13th Parliament at an extraordinary moment in our nation's history. For the first time, we witnessed young Kenyans from the Gen Z generation breached Parliament's security in protest against the proposed finance bill, expressing deep frustration with the state of our nation. We have also witnessed for the first time in our constitutional history the impeachment of a sitting deputy president for nothing but speaking truth to power. At a time when Parliament is increasingly perceived by many Kenyans as an appendage of the executive, I come to this house carrying the voice of ordinary citizens. I carry the cry of mothers detained in hospital after giving birth because they cannot afford medical bills. I ask, where is Linda Mama? I carry the cries of millions of unemployed young people asking, where are their jobs? I come with the cry of students languishing at home due to low capitation and lack of adequate funding to our school and universities and colleges. I carry the concern of hardworking civil servants whose payslip continue to shrink under the weight of pay-as-you-earn, housing levy, SHA. For many, the payslip has become a source of pain rather than hope. Madam Speaker, it would be an understatement saying SHA is a flossy, noisy nihilification. I also carry the anguish of families whose loved ones have been abducted, tortured, maimed, or killed. As a nation governed by the rule of law, we must ask ourselves, when will this come to an end? Honorable members, permit me to paraphrase the words of German pastor Martin Yomol. First, they came for the Gen Zs. I did not speak because I was not a Gen Z. Then they came for the civil servants. I did not speak because I was not a civil servant. Then they came for the deputy president. I did not speak because I was not regarding Gachagua. Then they came for the great leaders that have been killed under unclear circumstances and I still remained silent. Then they came for me, and by then, there was no one left to speak for me. Madam Speaker, history teaches that democracy is not lost in one dramatic moment. It is lost when good people choose silence in the face of injustice. As legislators, we must always defend the Constitution, uphold the rule of law, and protect the rights and freedom of every Kenyan, regardless of their political affiliation. The recent rise in goon culture, allegedly under the watch of institutions that ought to protect our citizens, is deeply worrisome and should be condemned by all and sundry. Finally, to the great people of our constituency, thank you once again for demonstrating to the entire nation that power truly belongs to the people. No amount of intimidation, bribery, or abuse of state resources can defeat a determined and united electorate. I pay tribute to Zakaria Gakinya from Rorie Ward and James Moigai from Kaibaga, who paid the ultimate price for exercising their right to vote. May their innocent blood forever hound the perpetrators. Let me equally extend the same to SCORE, who are beaten and maimed by a rogue regime that could not withstand humiliation in Olkalau constituency. We honor you. As I conclude, I'm reminded of the words written to King Belshazzar in the book of Daniel. When they were merrymaking, when they were eating and dancing, when they were enjoying, a lighting came on the wall. These words reached to all entrusted with power. Mene, mene tekel upasin. You have been weighed on the scale and found wanting. Your days are numbered. May God bless Olkalau constituency. May God bless Kenya. And may God bless all of us. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Wow.
Very well. Very well. We are back to order number 12. Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, let me rise to support this motion on consideration of session of paper number 7 of 2026, whose principal objectives, as the chair and the seconder have clearly stated, is one, to provide a very clear framework for investment and management of the National Infrastructure Fund's resources, and to finance commercially viable infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from the Honorable Ngogoyo, Honorable Speaker, I know Ngogoyo wants to hear me saying something about my friend Ngotho, the Member of Parliament for Kalau. And this motion has only 5 minutes. If you indulge me an extra 1 minute.
Actually, honorable members, to all of us debating this motion, including the leader of majority,
Yes.
it is 5 minutes.
So if you can indulge me, Honorable Speaker, for just an extra 2 minutes, because Honorable Ngogoyo does not know, on sessional papers you have only 5 minutes, including the leader of majority in contribution. So in just 2 minutes, let me just to buy the piece of some immaturity that I see, congratulates the honorable member for Kalau Ngotho Kamau, a young man that I knew way back in 2021 when we worked together and campaigned, and he lost the Kalau seat. And following his work in 2021, he has now been elected as a member for Kalau, and I want to congratulate you. Let me congratulate you and tell you that you have a very short time to serve the people of Kalau. It may be a position that the people of Kalau, all Kalau, or indeed any part of Kenya, are being bribed with transformers. But the same people of Kalau will demand that you deliver power to them and you deliver transformers to them. So even with a well-rehearsed and well-written speech, I congratulate you. But may those who wrote it for you also know that the people will hold you to account, my brother. And you will remember me, Ngotho, because I know I have relatives in all Kalau, and he knows many of my relatives in that constituency. Honorable Speaker, back to this session of paper. We enacted the National Infrastructure Fund Act earlier this year. It was signed into law. A board has already been appointed after competitive recruitment. And now the National Treasury was required to bring this session of paper on the investment policy that will guide us on how we finance commercially viable infrastructure of national significance, Honorable Speaker, how we mobilize both domestic and international finance to be able to finance in an alternative manner without necessarily going back to our taxpayers. Honorable Speaker, this investment policy, with the amendments that have been proposed by the committee, and I must thank the Committee of Finance and National Planning, because when I went through the report this morning, I hear the chairman was surprised that I tabled a report on his behalf. And he forgets when the speaker approves a report, any committee's report, the office of the leader of majority gets a copy signed by the speaker. And that is why I'm able to table these reports, even in the absence of the chairs. And I did that in Swahili, Honorable Speaker. And when I went through this report and the recommendations that the committee has carried, I could not help but notice that many of the recommendations that the committee is carrying are not recommendations that are coming from members of parliament, are recommendations that came from stakeholders, many of whom are private sector investment bankers, fund managers who appeared before the committee and sent numerous memoranda in their hundreds. And I think the chair has done that very well, captured all the memoranda that were sent both by private individuals, fund managers, investment bankers, on how we can further improve this investment policy to ensure that we are able to deliver to the people of Kenya. And Honorable Speaker, without saying much, let me say I support this report and the recommendations that have gone to improve on what had come from the National Treasury. In fact, I did note, and I was telling the chair yesterday, that I agree with one of the recommendations that sought to remove a minimum of 7.5% return to a positive return. Because you may restrict yourself in a policy like this on a number, and you never achieve that number, you never get investments that have that kind of return. But so long as you say a positive return, and you also restrict what kind of projects you can fund using this fund, because, Honorable Speaker, as we said, it is to finance commercial ventures that are commercially viable, Honorable Speaker. And I want to believe that this investment policy, with the recommendations that have been added by the committee in the adoption report, will go a long way to augmenting what we began in this House when we approved the National Infrastructure Fund Act bill that became an act of Parliament, Honorable Speaker. I therefore beg to support this session of paper approval and seek the support of the House. This is in the interest of the people of Kenya. And as we have said, this investment policy will go beyond the life of this parliament will go beyond our own lives. It will go to serve generations of our nation to come. Even at a time when we will not be in this house, will not be leaders, but Kenya will remain and will continue to invest in a way that we have returns that benefit generations of our country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to support.
Honorable members, I know some members are coming to me with issues of statements. I need to reiterate that we reordered the order paper. We are now doing order number 12. We'll do order number 13 and then go back to statements. This motion has only 5 minutes for each speaker. Mayaka, if you intend to speak on this, use the intervention.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to also speak on this very important policy paper. Honorable Speaker, I want to, from the onset, just support this investment policy because, as it has been said by the mover of the motion and majority leader as well, this puts in place a specific framework that will enable the board to actually structure and ensure that the funds are used in the proper place. Honorable Speaker, some of the principles and advantages of this particular policy paper is in the fact that it gives commercial discipline. What I mean by commercial discipline, Honorable Speaker, is that it ensures that a fund that has been put for a specific type of project goes to that particular project. And Honorable Speaker, there are very many projects that have been put under this that are very, very key and very important. You look at different areas that have been considered. There's the transport infrastructure, there's energy, there's water. And for me, Honorable Speaker, especially under transport, where it speaks about not only the road infrastructure, but also the railway infrastructure, which are very key for us because we've seen some of those projects have already taken effect. But Honorable Speaker, what is also very key and very important is about the risk management guardrails that have been included in this particular policy paper. And Honorable Speaker, earlier today, we had a very interesting conversation in a meeting with young people from Kenya and civil society about the freedom of debt management in our country. And one of the issues that came up was the fact that we don't seem to be having proper mechanisms, and we've not been able to really review our Public Finance Management Act for us to be able to make sure that we are proactively managing the issue of debt in our country. Honorable Speaker, in this particular policy paper, it talks about a cap for the projects, where it says that 20% maximum of assets to a single project, allocated to a single project. It further says that for every sector, there's a limit of exposure, that any single sector cannot exceed 40% of the total assets, which, Honorable Speaker, is also something that is very key and very important. Honorable Speaker, looking at the area of water and irrigation infrastructure, we are a country that is very pro-agriculture. And for me, this is a very important space that the policy seeks to also ensure that is well guarded and well financed, because we don't have a lot of counties that are actually productive in terms of agriculture. But when we have a situation where the policy intends to actually make sure that there's water supply, water storage, dams, irrigation, bulk water infrastructure, and especially for the arid and the semi-arid areas, then it means that we will not only be focusing on just the food basket counties of this country, but that we'll also be focusing on other areas that are not currently productive. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of national priority infrastructure, and especially our airports and the railway, as I had alluded to, for us, like for me personally, who comes from Nyamira County, this is very exciting because with the review of the structure and the plan for the SGR, and the fact that it is now going to also pass through Nyamira in an area called Ikonge, for me this is very exciting because the policy now puts into action what was put into paper. And it ensures that the National Infrastructure Fund is actually being realistic, and that it is actually being put into proper use that will assist this country of ours. Because, Honorable Speaker, as it has been said, this is one of those things that you call a perpetual policy document that we do have. A document that ensures that we, as a country, we are outliving the things that we are doing currently to make sure that future generations are also benefiting from this. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, with those few remarks, I beg to support and I submit. I thank you.
Very well. Honorable Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also rise to support and to say that, Madam Speaker, this is one policy that will help us, first of all, to shift from the challenges we've always faced, as my colleagues have said, of debt, but also now to go and look at a lead investment strategy that will help us to move. Madam Speaker, when you look at the priorities, I think one of the things we must appreciate is that this is one policy that will now protect Kenyans from their interests and be able, Kenyans will be able also to just follow through and to question. Because now we have priority investments. We have projects that you can look at. You can say we will have an airport. You can say, Madam Speaker, we shall have a port. We will have electricity. We'll